Hey guys, welcome back to the Don't Settle Squad podcast, episode 58, 2 crucial things for life direction and peace in 2025. Your values and vision drive every decision in your life. In this episode, I'll show you how to find yours. So hey guys, Happy New Year. Recording this on the 5th here on Sunday, so a little bit behind. Been a bit sick, still a small bit sick, so I'm not sure this podcast is going to go. Kind of coughing on and on a bit. And I only seem to cough when I talk a lot, which is great for recording a podcast. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll go well. I won't keep it too long. But hope you had a great Christmas and New Year. And as you heard in this episode today, I'm going to give you 2 things that are crucial for life direction and peace. So this is coming from the Lifestyle Design University. So the two things are, we've our values and we've our vision. And both of them together give us our internal compass, or that's what I call it. Okay, so we'll go through those 3 points. We'll go through your values, go through vision, and you'll see then how that creates your own internal compass, which is going to give you peace and direction in life in 2025. So for values, as you'll see when we get into values, your values need verbs, but that's what I'm doing already. Values and vision, we've all heard these things, but when I think back to my younger self, I didn't even really know what they meant. And most people don't. So for the values, the brackets here is who you want to be. That's what it means. Okay, I'm going to keep everything very simple here. So your values means who you want to be, and then your vision, what you want to do. Very simple. It takes all the confusion out of it. So the 2 crucial things are to find out who you want to be and what you want to do. And if you know those 2 things, you're going to be at peace and have life direction, because if you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. you will be at peace. And I've experienced that when you're going from, shy introverted kid, not even saying what I think to friends, all the way up to putting it out online. And of course you get hate and different things. You're at peace. When you're being yourself, you know who you want to be, and you're spreading that in the world, whether it's just your family, friends, or online, you're at peace. Okay, so that's the first side. The second side then is the vision. When you know what you want to do, when you're able to cultivate your passion, your purpose, and you're able to go for it, it doesn't matter if it ends up being a career or not, you have your life direction then. Okay, so for the values, who you want to be, this is in the module called Verifying Your Values. And I called it that because to verify something is to check if it's correct. And that's what we're doing, because you already have values. You might think that you don't, but you already do. So if you're like, oh, I know my values, that means they're conscious. If you're like, what's Mark on about? I don't have any values, or I don't know them, then they're unconscious. But what we're going to do now is we're going to bring it from your unconscious into your conscious mind, so you can verify them and see, do I want to be that person? And the answer is probably going to be no, and then you're going to set new ones. So for this, who you want to be, do you know what I'll do? I'll actually share my own, which is faking upstairs. Look, I know most in my head already. So you have worksheets. So in the Lifestyle Design University, you get worksheets where you're able to map out all of this. And there's quarterly planners in there as well. And in the quarterly planner, you get to list your values. So when I sit down now, which will be tomorrow on Monday, and I'm starting work, I'll see that every morning. Who do I want to be and what do I want to do? And that's the direction going forward for the first quarter of 2025. But in the values, I know my number 1 value, integrity. That's my number 1 value. And what does that mean? In brackets, live true to yourself. Very simple. So that's the first value in my internal compass. Have integrity. And what does that actually mean? Because again, you can just say all these values and not like, oh, integrity, oh, courage, these things. How do I act them out in my life? Integrity, to act that out in my life, I just live true to myself. So there's an example, but you'll have to come up with ones that are aligning with you. And we could talk about this, for hours, but the last thing I'll say on that is, if you are unsure, the easy way to find your values is to look at people that you admire. Because when you're drawn to certain people, that's what's happening. You actually admire those values, you have that in yourself, and you want to bring more of it out. So maybe if you love my content, maybe something like integrity or courage or living true to yourself, whatever way you want to put it, that's probably one of your values. And another little exercise you can do there is you can just write out what you do. Okay, so that's what you do. Just get a piece of paper and just write out What do you spend your time doing? And start from like the thing you spend the most time doing, and then go down the list. Write out 5 or 10 things. And just do that first, and then after that, look at it. That's what you value. It's just so simple, but again, most people don't even know this. They don't know what they value in life. Then they do this exercise, and they might see pints, or maybe Gaelic, or whatever, video games, like whatever it is. That's what you value. And how do I know that? Because that's what you spend your time doing. Our values are determined by our actions, not by our words. So you might find, you'll think about it and go, oh, I value fitness, we'll say. And then you write down the things you're doing. It's like, pints every weekend, takeaways, whatever. You're being delusional. Okay, so you think you value something, but you don't, because again, it's determined by your actions. Okay, so that's a little bit on values again. You could talk about each one of these things all day. On to the vision then. So like I said, what is vision? To me, it's what you want to do. And this is in the module called Building Your Vision in the Lifestyle Design University. We're going to give you a snapshot of it here. So the way I like to think of it is you can have a macro vision and a micro day. Okay, so macro vision, micro day. And what that means is the macro vision, that's your big vision. That's your big life vision that you need to have. And for this, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Because I was going to say still do struggle with things like perfectionism. Like, I need to know exactly what it is before I can do it. That's what stops in your tracks with anything. So all the stuff I've done the last, 7-9 years, it's not going to be perfect. It never is. That's just a kind of mental frame that's holding you back. So for the macro vision, you need something there. You just write down whatever it is that you have, and then you can move forward and you'll iterate it and change it over time. Because you won't even really know what your vision is till you start going out and doing things. But for me, I would have had a big vision that I wrote out, but the kind of snapshot of my macro vision was something along the lines of inspire and educate people to not settle and help them take back control of their body, mindset and life. There you go. And then you'll see that leads into everything that I'm doing and then the programs that I have. I've one in each. I have the Physical Freedom Program for the body, Mental Freedom course for the mindset, and then the Lifestyle Design University, like we're on about here, for the life. So you want to do that, write out the macro vision, and then another thing that's good to do is have your micro day. So what that means is, which is the last point, about removing barriers to find out what it is that you truly want to do with your days. So just imagine this. Imagine you're a billionaire. Money is not an issue. What would you be doing on a normal day? And don't think of like, I'd buy a yacht, I'd do this, I'd do that. Like, forget all that. After all that, we'll see. When that gets boring, what would your normal days look like? And this will just help you to see what is it that you actually want to do with your life. And for me, what came out when I did this exercise about 7 years ago, when I was in my 9 to 5, thinking, what do I actually want to do? It was get up early so I don't waste the day, because I've had stages in my life where sleeping until all hours, no passion, no purpose. So get up early, don't waste the day. Second thing then, do some work on something that I'm passionate about and that I would do for free. After that then, I want to train things that I love, which is like strength training, cardio training, martial arts. And then after that, I want some sort of connections. Okay, whether that's family, friends, people online, whatever. I want to connect with some people that align with the values that I have. And then the last one was learning and study. Here we go, voice is starting to go now. No water. Okay. So that was my micro day, we'll say. Like, if I was a billionaire, what would I do? I want to get up early. I want to work on something that I'm passionate about. I want to train things that I love doing. I want to connect with people that are in my tribe, you could say. And then lastly, I love learning and studying. I want to learn and study something that's interesting to me, not something that I'm forced to learn. So when I have those two things, it's much easier. You can reverse engineer your day from there. And that's what I did. So that's pretty much what my days are. That's what I do, which is, again, going back to the whole point of Lifestyle Design University, designing the life true to you. Okay, we don't have much time now left on the voice. So I'll go through to the last point then I had, which was the internal compass. So you have a bit of a guideline there on your values to find out who you want to be. You have a little bit of guidelines there on your vision to find out what you want to do. And those two things make up your internal compass. And we'll jump back to the forest analogy from last week. So if you didn't hear that, I was saying it's okay if you're a bit lost. If you're, well, we are in 2025. If you're in 2025 and you're a bit worried because you're not sure of what you want to do, you're not sure of your vision or even who you want to be, so things are a bit confusing and you're kind of thinking, oh, everyone seems to have their life figured out. They don't, but that's what it can seem like. So I was saying that can actually be a good thing, because if you don't know the way forward, then that's actually your own true path. Because the analogy of the forest was, if you get to the forest and you see the walkway through and you take that, is that your path? No, because other people have walked it. That's literally how you can see it and how it's clear, because the trees or whatever are knocked down and the pathway is there. So that means you're following other people's paths. Whereas the analogy was, if you get to the forest and there's no way through and you're a bit worried, a bit anxious, like, I don't really know where to go or what to do here, that's good, because now you get to carve your own path, which is true to you. So the internal compass links in here, because what people try and do is they want maps for life. That's what we want. Humans want certainty. Oh, what should I do with my life? Or who should I be? And just like looking around, not really sure. And we want someone to like give us a map of, oh, here's who you should be. That's what you should do. This is how you should do it, because that gives us safety. That's not how the world works. And you'll also find out if you do that, you're not going to be happy. Because I've done that for different things. Like the soccer career is a good one. I took other people's maps for my life of I should get a 9 to 5 and do this and do that. And I left the soccer career. I walked their path and I wasn't happy. So that's what you'll find here. That's how you get peace, like I'm saying. If you know who you are, you know what you want to do, and you go for it. It doesn't matter if you make it or not. Win, lose, fail, success. You'll be at peace because you followed your own path. And that's a very important thing. It only happens from following your own path. You'll learn that too on your own journey. So that's why the internal compass is always going to be better than having a map. Because if you follow other people's maps, you're not going to be happy with the destination. Whereas if you have your own internal compass, you'll know the next steps forward, no matter where you are. Does that make sense? So instead of getting to the forest and be like, I need a map of the forest, or can I have your map of the forest? And then you go through and you end up where you don't want to be. Whereas if you just have your internal compass, so you get there, you don't know where you're going, but you look at the internal compass and you know it says, I know I want to go 5 steps that direction. You don't know after that, you don't need to know, but you know in your heart, I want to walk 5 steps that way and I have no regrets over it. This is who I am, this is what I want to do, and you go those 5 steps. Then when you get there, you have a look at it again. Okay, maybe it's actually changing a bit now. I don't want to keep going that way. Maybe I want to go 2 steps to the left instead. And then you go that way. And this is how you find your own path. And over time, it only makes sense in hindsight. It only makes sense in hindsight when you look back years later. Again, my story here, I thought I was going to be a soccer player. So that was my map, that was my plan. So, and look at all the things that have happened now, going into 9 to 5, coming out, done the mobility coach and all the way up to here. So like, there's no way I could have known that. But you could say going from trying the soccer player stuff, going into 9 to 5, I took other people's maps and said, oh, well, this is how you're meant to live your life. Not everyone lives their dream. I guess I'll just get a 9 to 5 job. Was unhappy. And then when I got all the injuries and stuff, had to retire, that's when I started doing self-development and thinking, who am I? Like, what, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? Creating my internal compass. And I've been taking steps forward in life now, which have led me to all these different things. Some have worked, some haven't. But like I said, I've been at peace the whole way through it. And I always have some sort of direction in my life because I have my internal compass, and that can never lead you wrong. Okay, so I'll end it there. Glad I got through that last bit there. I thought I might have to cut it off. Okay, so finishing up then, we have the Physical Freedom Program membership. So the deal is over on that, but you can still get into it there. So that's all the educational programs, so the one-to-one coaching into a cheap membership platform that everyone can access. So you've got all the sections there. There's education, then there's the Physical Freedom Foundation programs. That's your first 1 to 3 months. Then the sports-specific programs, like for gym, for field sports, martial arts. Then strength and conditioning programs too, basic up to elite. And then the Beast Athlete program at the end for those who want to reach their athletic potential. So in there, it's not just rehab programs, to help you overcome chronic pain and injury. There's programs to take you all the way up to your athletic potential in your chosen sport. There's a few people in there now. The calls are Tuesday at 1 p.m, so good call last week, and next one, Tuesday 1 p.m, see in there if you're going for it. And then I should say as well, the content from today, that's coming from the Lifestyle Design University. So that I'll put the link in the show notes there as well. So that's another membership that you can sign up to, and this one is about avoiding the biggest regret of humanity and being able to design the life true to yourself. Because if you haven't heard of Bronnie Ware's book, Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, I'll do a podcast on it one day. Like, I would have came across this about 10 years ago. That's what helped me change my life and not settle and live true to myself. So the top 5 regrets of the dying were, number 1, I always remember number 1 off the top of my head because it's what's defined my life. I wish I had the courage to live the life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Worth repeating. The number 1 regret, the number 1 recorded regret of humanity is, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. There you go. Most people in life are heading towards regrets on their deathbed like that one. But even the other ones, I only know the other ones off the top of my head because I just had a quick Google. But number 2 was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. That's more why the mental freedom course is there. If you want to learn about why you are the way you are, why you struggle with certain things, it's all coming from your subconscious programming that happens all the way since early childhood. But you can go in there, you can understand it more, and you can change the beliefs running in your life like a puppet master. Number 4 then, I actually can't remember number 4 and 5 off the top of my head. Number 4 was I wish I kept up with friends. Number 5, can't remember number 5. But anyway, you get the point. Main one is living true to yourself. That's how you avoid the biggest regret of humanity. Okay, so that's it. Don't settle. Live true to yourself. We'll talk to you next week.